Where is everybody?
They're wanting everybody to quarantine so they don't spread this virus.
Could I stay in your home?
I hope quarantine never ends.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to You'll Probably Agree. Today, from Hollywood, Chicago, I have Pat McDonald on, and I don't know if anybody's heard about this movie yet, but it's called Borat to a subsequent to Moviefilm, or the full title. What is the full title?
Yeah, what is the full title?
Film. Delivery of a prestigious bribe to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. Or as we know in the movie, they keep changing the title like 4 different times within the film just to add confusion. And in classic Sacha Baron Cohen style, this movie slipped right under the radar of the public. And boy, when it emerged, what an incredible surprise. And there are, I don't know if we're allowed to talk about the surprise.
Yes, we are, because it's pretty much in the news now, Mike, so we're all good. You know, not all the spoilers, but definitely we can talk about Rudy.
Yes. I think we should just jump straight into that because
sure, why not?
It's the elephant in the room.
Right.
Pretty much. So for anyone who hasn't read, and man, talk about coming in right on time, because we found out recently from the FBI that Iran and Russia is interfering with the election, which, yeah, big surprise.
Which could be true or not true. I think it's not true.
What, that Russia's?
I think it's another dodge by the Trump administration to distract.
Yeah,
it was so strange the way it came out of the blue.
Like, I don't even see how that would benefit Trump, because it's like, well, let's see, who is the guy who got in trouble recently with collaborating with Russia? It was the president. Yeah. Like, I don't see how that helps him. But
well, it's just another distraction, Mike. And I think when you talk about the distractions of this era, he's the master of it. I'll give him that. He is an evil master of distraction.
Yes. But I don't know. I just hope they don't repeat 2016, you know, which is something I'm mortified by. But in one way this helps is that we have Rudy Giuliani caught on tape trying to have sex with a 15-year-old girl.
Beautiful.
Yeah, which I'm not sure if he did try to have sex with her or not.
Well,
you can't tell if he tried to untuck his pants or if, but the fact that he's like petting.
He laid down on the bed. That was the invitation.
Yeah.
You can't get around that. If he had just sat on the bed and said, "Let me just take your information," then it's good.
Yeah.
But he laid down, and it indicates that he definitely was reaching inside his pants. I don't care what he was doing. I just want to say that the fact that he laid down is the key.
Yeah, I had to rewind it a few times when I was watching it because I was like, "Wait a minute! Was I just seeing things? Am I overdoing it, or did the president's personal lawyer just grab his dick with a 15-year-old?" And the best is Sacha Baron Cohen rushes into the room and he says, "Don't do it. She's 15. She's too old for you."
Yes, exactly. Now, to his defense, and the only defense I'll give him is that he did not know the relative age of this fictional character. He didn't know the fictional character's age was 2015.
Yeah, the real actress
is 24.
Maria Bakalova.
Yeah, Bakalova.
Yeah. She's 24 years old.
Where did he find her? I want to know the background of her, because she takes Borat on and arguably outdoes him.
You know, I pointed that out in my review too. I think my favorite moments in that movie actually came from Tutar, his fictional daughter in the film. You know,
right.
They have the blood moon scene which holy cow. We have we give that away. Like they're in a
Well,
very
they just
nice,
do it. They do a fertility dance at a debutante ball. There, that's enough.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, you don't have to tell them what it's about. Just that's it.
Yes.
And here, and you bring. Let me bring up a quick point so before I forget it. The people who don't know who Borat is,
Yeah.
the unsuspecting Americans, are mostly red staters. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they're pretty decent people. They see what's going on, but they don't really want to say anything because Borat
Either way.
Borat is obviously a foreigner, and his daughter is obviously a foreigner. They're trying to be nice, which I
Yes.
think is hilarious, especially the Texas Republican women. I applaud them. They let her go on in this absurd way, and still they got her an Uber home.
Yeah. Oh, they want to call that Uber pretty quick too, which I don't know if I can blame them for. Yeah, that was the one thing I also put it on my review is I think because I call a lot of red states or battleground states
Right, whatever you want to call it.
during during this whole campaign. I've never actively stood in line 40 minutes. I've never even seen a 40-minute wait line in my polling area in my life.
Well, yeah,
Yeah. The turnout is enormous.
right.
And right after that, I've never gone straight to making calls as well. And when you call these states, it's filled with a lot of folks who live in this bubble who aren't necessarily evil, horrible monsters.
No.
The people who adopt Borat or let him
Right.
sort of seek refuge during this whole pandemic, like I don't even know if I would be that nice if some guy came up to me and said, "I have nowhere to go. Can I stay
Right.
at your place?" And I'd say no, because A, it's a pandemic and I don't want you getting me sick. And B, I have no idea who you are. But these guys let him in. They let him dance around them with a gigantic fake dildo while they say no. They let
Hilarious.
save his daughter. I feel like if they didn't grow up in this bubble, they probably would not. I'm
Be
not saying,
progressive.
yeah, I wouldn't say Democrat or Republican, but
Right.
vote for someone like this. But again, it for as bad as he makes people look, he doesn't particularly villainize anyone
No.
if they're not
No.
meant to be villainized.
I really want to emphasize that point because,
Yeah.
you know, as soon as people hear Rudy hit job, they're going to think this is a, hit job on all the people who vote for Trump or whatever. What it is a very sweet movie about how America is now through the eyes of this absurd performance art character.
Yes. Are we talking about the president or are we talking about?
Well, I'm just, yeah, right, exactly. He is, in a way, he is like that. You're right. You know,
Yeah.
my
because-
favorite, another favorite part, and again, it's not giving away anything, but Borat comes to a Mike Pence speech.
Yes. That was in
Doesn't
the
give away
trailer.
anything.
Yeah.
Just know that Mike Pence makes an appearance in this movie.
Yes. Yes. It's incredible because you see this young woman Republicans meeting, and they could easily be outraged, tell this young girl who's revealing a lot about herself to immediately get off the stage and leave, but they're incredibly polite. They let her talk about fingering herself, and you have these other guys who attend this Borat, or who let him stay at their place. The only time we really see anyone sort of villainized in this movie, I guess, is Giuliani. But then again, he tried to incite sex with a 15-year-old girl.
Exactly.
I
He
don't
deserved
know.
what he got there. And I don't
Yeah.
care how much he says it was a hit job or it's not true or whatever. He's on the tape doing it.
Yeah.
What, videotape doesn't lie now, Giuliani? Now, he tried to call the cops afterward and then realized it was Borat and he liked the first movie, so he let it go.
How
thinking,
ironic.
nothing's going to come of this. It's going to be nothing.
How ironic is it that the guy
He was-
liked the first movie, and yet the first movie goes well? The first movie went after both sides.
Yeah, pretty much.
This movie kind of exclusively goes after the right,
Yeah,
but I mean for two reasons. One is because of the state of the of affairs that we're living in.
right. It's basically the Trump era, you
Yeah.
know.
And, I mean, I am sick of unprecedented times. I
Right.
miss precedented times.
Well, I'm going to say one thing too. The Borat character, when I first was introduced to him, I wasn't a huge fan.
Hmm.
But as the years have gone on and I've gotten to know Sacha Baron Cohen and I've seen his other characters, and obviously his latest turn is Abby Hoffman in the trial of the Chicago 7, I am like a fan now. I'm a fan of Borat. I'm a fan of Sacha Baron Cohen. I mean, I'm definitely a fan of this movie.
I had kind of a different exposure to him. I first saw him with the American interpretation of the Ali G show, or
Right.
the Ali G show, I should say.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I know
And-
that character too.
Yeah. I showed it to my classmates in high school. Like we'd always go to our local television class, and I'd pop in my DVD of it, and everybody would just be dying laughing watching these sequences, particularly Borat's. So when they announced the Borat movie, I was extremely excited. I didn't know if it would be sort of like one of those things where they adapt the television show to a movie, and the movie is just kind of like, kind of like the Mr. Bean film or something like that. But
Right.
it was a smash hit, and I couldn't have been happier.
I think that thing cleared
was
100, didn't it?
With this one, it's like at 85%.
No, I meant it cleared 100 million, the first one.
It might have. I don't
Yeah.
have the numbers in front
Yeah,
of
I
me.
don't. Yeah, I don't either. But I
Yeah.
think it was a huge hit, as you said.
Yeah, I just remember crying, laughing in the audience. I didn't laugh that hard in an audience since, well, honestly, the Jackass films. Which, if you think about it, Borat is sort of like Jackass if it was made by, because Sacha Baron Cohen went to Oxford, by an Ivy League scholar who really knows how to deliver a poignant message in his picture. You know, the Jackass guys hit each other in nuts, whatever. Here, this guy is pulling these elaborate, literally death-defying pranks.
Right.
The guy is going to a gun rally,
Yeah.
and behind the scenes, he had this bulletproof vest on
Right.
underneath him. And Bruno, when they had the final scene where they're making out in the big metal cage in the middle of a UFC match or WWE or whatever the hell it is, they had an underground exit through that cage. Yeah. Because literally the guy who was helping them escape tell them they're going to kill you. You need to get out of here. They let him go underground and out of there.
Well, what was fascinating to me is that Borat is taking on the patriarchy in this one. Now, again, I'm not going to give anything away, but think of that theme if you're going to see it, because one of the things that is never said about white privilege is how the patriarchy has taken white privilege and made it evil.
Yeah.
Patriarchy plus white privilege equals Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no denying that.
They don't. I love how they have the little cartoon that's like a Disney cartoon of how Donald Trump met Melania.
Hilarious.
Yes, and that's
oh my God.
Essentially
I
how
wish they'd make a whole movie of that.
I wanted to see the full cartoon.
Exactly.
Like, this is the funniest
I'm
thing.
sure they cut out pieces of it, you know,
Oh
of the
God.
length and everything. Yeah.
That and content, I'm sure it got pretty graphic. Like, I wonder if there's an actual shot of the vagine being grabbed by Donald Trump with Princess Melania as he spins her around like a fucking bowling ball, you know, with his hands underneath her vag.
Well, you always have to warn people as you're reviewing this, and I did it on the radio this morning.
Yeah.
I said that if you don't like gross out humor, if you don't like potty humor, you're not going to like this movie because that's what it is. But if you like performance art, you're going to
Wow.
love this movie.
It's
And
incredible.
performance art means that you're going to go out there. You're going to go to the extreme. You're going to do potty humor. You're going to do gross out humor. You're going to do blood moon humor. You know, it just, that's what performance art is.
And it's particularly fitting with the movie going after Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a vulgarian himself. And the brilliance of Sacha Baron Cohen is that he knows how to top such an era of absolute lack of class
Right.
in a way that is incredible
Right.
because every comedian on this planet has tried to parody Donald Trump, and you can't because the
Right.
guy is so horribly over the top. How do you
Right.
possibly parody him? And luckily, Borat is a character who is just so disgusting in his backwards beliefs that he will go to the 18th degree beyond what is already prevalent, where he will even shock those who are supporters of this madman. I mean, when you think of the scene where he's going on stage and singing a song about murdering Dr. Fauci and Barack Obama and everyone.
Again, let's not give away too much,
Yeah.
but yes, yes.
Yeah. That was a song that song actually came out months ago. I believe.
Oh yeah,
it was linked on the internet.
and that was the one where he was wearing the flak jacket because
Yeah.
he just didn't know if he was going to get exposed.
Yes.
You bring up an excellent point about Trump, that in many ways he's as big a performance artist, quote unquote,
Yeah.
as Sacha Baron Cohen, but he doesn't get the ramifications of it.
Yes.
He doesn't. Well, he will get it on November 3rd, but he doesn't get it
Hopefully.
in his sensibility. He knows he's putting on a character. He did that on The Apprentice. He's doing it here as president, quote in quote marks.
Yeah.
And yet he doesn't understand that that kind of run can come back to bite you in the ass.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope that there is such.
Yes, you and me both.
Yeah.
I have no confidence. The media wants a horse race. If you're looking at the media right now, everybody, they're going to be talking about the numbers that Donald Trump has versus the numbers that these other pollsters had. All polls are lies. Stop listening to the polls and go and vote.
That's exactly what I did. I don't listen to the after 2016. Nope. I remember I actually got into a very vicious verbal argument with someone from 538.com on the night of the election.
Mm-hmm.
And he, at one point, I don't know what I said to him because I was pretty sad and I was pretty drunk. And I said to him, "You got the numbers wrong, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Okay, you went too far. We look up data. And based on this data, this is what should have happened. Blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Yeah, whatever. You're still wrong." So,
you know what other year they screwed that up? 1948. All the polls said that Tom Dewey was going to win. And Harry S. Truman got reelected. And literally, he was the only one that knew it would happen.
Wow.
And it was very similar situation to how Trump ran his campaign in 2016. Truman started doing whistle stop campaigns, and he saw the crowds getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
This year, that is not the case. Those crowds are just the 10,000 looniest people, or whatever, the 500 looniest people in each town who will go to a super spreader event without a mask.
That and if you look at the turnout, I doubt people are voting early and in hours in line.
No,
because of Donald
Trump. That's not inspiring anybody.
Yeah.
It's not inspiring his base. It's just the same old, same old.
Yeah. And after 200 some thousand deaths, we can't even keep track anymore. Why would you be inspired? Of course, to get back on topic though, because it's hard to Donald Trump is. It's hard for. I had to give Baron Cohen so much credit because the thing I love about his character, unlike Bruno, I don't like Bruno because Bruno is outwardly an asshole. Borat is this guy who has these horrible backwards beliefs, but it's because he doesn't know any better.
Mhm.
He's otherwise a sweet guy who means well.
Right.
It's just that he comes from this country that a fictionalized version of Kazakhstan. Like, if you don't remember, Kazakhstan released this whole video when Borat came out saying, "We're not like this. We're actually a developed nation." Apparently, the village that he used in the original film, they weren't extras. They were a real village, and they didn't know they were being pranked. So
That's not fictional?
that village he used, no, those are real people. So
But the country is, right?
well, Kazakhstan's a real place, but
Really?
it's actually not at all like it is in the movie.
I don't think he spells it the same.
Perhaps that's the case. That might be that might be one of the things. But Kazakhstan did release a video when the original came out. I believe it was what, 2007, something like
Wow,
that.
that long
2006.
ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, I feel the same way. The only way it doesn't feel that or feels longer ago to me is that I saw it in a theater that I wrote an article about nostalgia about that holds all my childhood memories there. That's no longer around. It's been shut down for maybe 10 years or I can't even tell anymore. So, but when that movie came out, Kazakhstan released this whole video showing, lush shots of their architecture and how they aren't this horrible, underdeveloped nation. Of course, nobody could take a joke. Luckily, with this film, I do like the fact that one person who didn't take a joke very well was this woman who was a Holocaust survivor, and this is one of the few times that Sacha Baron Cohen actually broke character, or maybe the only time, and told her, "Look, this not in the film, but you can tell in the film where he's breaking character, or about to, where he tells her, look, this is a bit. I'm, so sorry you went through this,
But again, he was expressing that sweetness.
He was, because
And
she
it
was the
was-
sweetest person in that movie.
She was great.
It was almost scripted how sweet she was.
I know, it really was.
She's like, "Come here, my darling. Let me kiss you. I'm not going to hurt you."
Right.
And I don't want to give the context away to that scene because the whole movie.
Yeah,
is
but
kind of a
again,
spoiler,
she's seen this kind of thing before, and she's always used kindness to mollify it.
Yes.
She wants to, and she did it with this absurd rendition. Again, not giving anything away.
Yeah, they are suing him now, but
Oh, the synagogue is?
yeah, or
Interesting.
the woman in the movie is.
Oh, brother.
And
She comes off great.
That's what I mean. Well, if she sees the film, which I'm sure she wouldn't be a fan of the film, but she'd be a fan of her scene if she were still around. They gave a little remembrance to her at the end of the credits, actually.
Well, interestingly enough, too, I have a question about who signs off on what. Now, I know that Rudy is a public figure, so he's fair game, but I noticed that he pixelized some folks in it.
Yeah.
And then obviously his roommates would have to sign off. The people who talk to him have to sign off. They're not all pixelated. All those Republican women would have to sign off. So I'm interested in the process of him getting the releases on that film.
If I were to guess, just from my experience in filmmaking,
Yep.
Rudy Giuliani already signed a release before the cameras rolled.
Yes.
He said, "Okay, I agree to be on camera. I agree to be in this interview." Boom. You sign the papers. You're done. These guys, at the rally, where they're filming them, they're in a public space or with people who aren't even public figures.
Yeah, but there were some people pixelized though.
Yeah. So to that point, they probably approached the documentary crew
Ah.
said, I don't want to be in this
Yeah.
film.
Good point.
And then they say, okay, you don't
Right.
have to be. And they have that paperwork ready for them.
Gotcha.
Or not even paperwork. There's
Right. No,
so,
that makes
okay,
sense.
at this point,
That makes sense.
yeah, because like when I was on set, like I'd film something that's completely innocent, right? Like I'd film, I don't know, like a music concert or something.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
The one guy, I would have to think his roommates would have to sign off on something though.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Because there's so many scenes they're in.
Yeah.
And I would think the Republican women would have to sign off too, because again, that was a very closed group. They're
Yes.
showing their faces on camera, but their sweetness was it was so typical. I mean, I have relatives in my family who are Trump supporters, but they're good people.
Yeah.
They're not evil people. They're just thinking irrationally when they think about this con artist. So con artists are con artists because they con people.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
There are people who sort of live in these rural areas who just don't have exposure to the world. They might have the internet, but they'll probably only have Fox News. Something I'll frequently do just as an experiment to see what the world sees outside of what I see is I'll go to every single news site and then I'll go to Fox News.
Sure.
And Fox News really does control most of the airwaves. So if you're living in, Bumblefuck, Iowa or whatever, you'll probably turn on your television. Fox News is there. Sean Hannity's there. They're talking.
Well, also, Fox News goes around the country.
Yeah.
And they throw a couple bucks to these, auto parts places and doctors' waiting room, et cetera, especially in their purview. And they say, have Fox News on all the time.
Exactly.
And there was a guy who put a sign up in the suburbs that said, I'm not going to put any news show on, et cetera, et cetera. I said to myself, he had Fox on all the time, was losing customers.
Yep.
So he'll say, no news stations, including Fox.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he does have Fox on. Yes.
Yeah. When somebody says that, they have Fox on.
Yes, exactly. It's like, oh, no news stations. You mean no news
Right.
stations except your news
Except
station.
your news station, exactly. But I know for a fact that there are representatives that go around the country who just throw these businesses a couple bucks as long as that stays on Fox and keeps a list of them. Because generally, when you go into a place that you're not familiar with, and I'm always shocked if Fox News is on, especially in the city. But some of these people have been given some money.
Yeah.
It's a bribe.
And it doesn't surprise me at all that they're essentially bribing them. And when you just have Fox on your television, when you go on the internet, what are you going to look up? Fox News. You're not going to look anything up. And when I look up all these other news sites, they'll have these perfectly reasonable stories, except for the New York Post. And Fox News, the first page, just like the first 4 articles, Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden, Hunter
Right.
Biden. Nobody else even mentions Hunter Biden. They don't give
Well,
a
they
shit.
know it's a fraud.
Yeah, it's a bunch of crap. I don't
problem.
even know what it's about. I don't care.
It's going to be very interesting tonight to see how Trump is going to handle himself.
Well, yeah, especially now that they can literally mute him. The president of the United States is so immature that the moderators had to put on a mute button.
At least they were saying it was his fault. They posted the debate. They were saying that both men were shouting over each other, but that was a lie.
Yeah.
It was Trump who was doing all the shouting.
Even Chris Wallace said to Trump in his face during that debate, "No, sir, you did do it a little more than the other guy."
But anyway, so back to the
but this is perfect performance arts.
Yeah.
And now that we're living in a performance arts stage, I don't see how it's any more insane than what we see on the news every single day. And I hope this movie takes everything by storm. I hope everyone subscribes to Amazon Prime after this. Amazon Prime has a lot of great material.
I was going into the movie with a little trepidation because, again, the Borat character is not one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So when it took a while for the movie to kick into gear. You know, you had to go through the first, I don't know, 20 minutes or so.
Mm.
But man, once it kicked into gear, especially, they have a bit where instead of texting his leader, he does faxes back and forth, except it's like texting,
Yeah.
which I think is one of the funniest bits in that movie.
Now that guy in that UPS store who has those texts go back or those faxes go back and forth deserves a medal.
He did a great job.
Talk about staying professional
Right.
and keeping your composure during
Well,
something
that was
is-
set up, Mike, because they have to get the faxes back, and they don't do it like that. So they just showed the machine running. So he got in on it quickly. But he did a
Okay,
great job.
I see.
I would say. I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah,
But to do that thing properly, you have to have the machine going in time, or you're going to sit there for hours trying to make that work, you know.
I'm gonna guess they already had the papers, and somehow sent it to him immediately. But again, because the guy didn't seem like an actor by any
No.
means. And the interesting thing about these movies is that you can't tell who's real and who's not real.
Right.
But at the same time, you kind of can. But no one's ever really, because I watched a lot of behind the scenes stuff on this, or just a little bit, to be honest.
Right.
And usually it's shocking the amount of work that goes behind it.
Oh God, yes.
Manipulation and how they're able to pull these things off. Mostly if those people look real on cameras because they're real. And I love how this film actually gives the voice of reason to a complete stranger who basically is this lady that babysits
Oh,
Borat's daughter. and
amazing.
she sort of provides the message of the film through common sense.
Which again is part of the theme of the film against the patriarchy. Look closely.
Yeah, it's really about people are good.
Yes.
It's just
it really
that
is about people are good.
they're confused.
Right. Right. They're conned.
Yeah.
They're conned.
And just like how Borat cons them, we have a president who's
Thank you.
conning everyone else.
Yep.
And
Yep.
don't give in to this con. Don't give in to my prank. Don't give in to his prank.
Very good.
And
Very good. I think that's as good a conclusion as you can have from this. Now I do it on a 5-point scale. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. What would you give it on a 5-point scale?
I give it a 5.
You're giving it a perfect score. I thought so.
Yeah, because I mean I have my bias. I've loved him since I was a kid. And I've seen a lot of reviews that are not a lot, but some that don't like it, saying, well, we already know what the formula is, so it's not as shocking or funny. It's like,
Please.
okay, but that's just criticizing a movie for the way it is. You can't exactly do that. I mean, you can do that, but I don't think it's a legitimate means of criticism.
I ran across this during the festival because I saw Kubrick by Kubrick, which is a French film. It's only 75 minutes. Now, you cannot encapsulate Kubrick in 75 minutes, except he had gotten the tapes that he had made over the years when somebody was writing a book. So basically what this is a 75-minute introduction to Kubrick. But again, snotty film geeks have been saying, oh, it doesn't go into what it should go into. It's Kubrick's own words, you twits.
Yeah.
Just like Jesus. Do you have to show off every effing time you write a review? Stop it.
It's
Be a
ridiculous.
human being.
I already know what it is. Then you don't like it. It's not for you. Just say it's personally not for you. That's fine.
Exactly.
But you don't have to criticize the movie in and of itself. Like, we already know the formula. We already know it's going to be shocking. Yeah, you do. And guess what? They delivered.
How can you not see Giuliani and say, oh my God, this guy is a freaking genius?
Yes.
I mean, I just said, there is the most vulnerable person associated with Trump, and they were able to get straight to his vulnerability and make the point that they were making in that movie.
talk about how times have changed. Where during 9/11, Giuliani was viewed as this hero. He was on
always an
SNL.
idiot, though.
Yeah,
He just lucked into that situation. We didn't know him outside in New York. Everybody in New York said he was just as bad. It's like Trump. Everybody knew in New York knew that guy was an idiot.
yeah.
And yet here he is, president.
I mean, talk about a further idiotic move. Even before the interview, the guy says, "Oh, we have the coronavirus under control." He proceeds to cough into his hands and then grab a glass of whiskey, putting his germs on it.
Yeah, you gotta, again, spoiler alert, but yes.
Like,
So,
my God. And I
know.
see this shit at my job all the time. Because at night, my night job, I got my day job, my night job. My night
Right.
job, I'm filming comedy shows.
right.
And when I go into work, I'm dressed up like I'm going to Fort Knox. I got 2 masks on, a face shield, gloves, and hand sanitizer attached to
Right.
the carabiner that holds all my keys and everything. I don't know why they call it that. It's a weird name. And I even sanitized the freaking gloves. And this guy in front of me, where we got plexiglass, is openly coughing without covering his
God.
mouth. He
It's-
coughs into his hand a couple
bad.
times, and he grabs the metal handle at my job with the hand that he coughed into. And he came from Detroit, which I'm sure he didn't quarantine. Detroit to Chicago, where I'm sure he didn't quarantine at all.
Right.
Oh,
It's a weird time, sir, and this is the perfect movie for these weird times. So I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
no, I'm glad to talk about it. I hope I didn't. I mean, luckily this video will be coming up on Friday, so the
Right.
cat's totally out of the bag with
The
everything.
cat's out of the bag, baby.
Yeah,
We're all good. We're all good. As long as we were not giving away the jokes in the other scenes, we're all good.
no,
And
I
Rudy
think we're
can
good.
Rudy can kiss my you know what.
Yeah,
He's such an idiot.
Rudy is stupid. He sounds like Sylvester the cat, not just with his list.
Oh God,
his
please. It's just bad.
entire speech style. But yes, Borat
right.
subsequent movie film, a surprisingly touching
Yes.
performance piece on the gullibility of Americans and how to not fall for a con. Please see it beyond the
Yes.
surface. I'm glad that we
See
were
it
able to
beyond the
touch on
surface. That's the exact recommendation I would give as well.
Exactly. Thank you, Pat.
Thank
Patrick
you.
McDonald, Hollywood, Chicago. Go
Woohoo!
check out his material. Check out his coverage of the Chicago International Film Festival,
Thanks, buddy.
which is online now. Remember to check out You'll Probably Agree at ypareviews.com. All right. Thanks a lot, folks.
Borat subsequent movie film.
You fist me. Now I fist you?
All right, there you
What
go.
do you prefer? You fist me or I fist you?
Same time.
Fist each other. Yeah.
There you go.